Good morning from Glenwood Lutheran Church. My name is Pastor Mark Manning, and I come to you on this beautiful day. Our coming lessons for this last Sunday in June um, have some troublesome parts to them. I can only begin to touch on some of the troublesome things. I'm going to read to you two pieces of scripture today. One of them is troublesome for us. Then the other is troublesome for the way that we sometimes see Jesus treated. The first troublesome passage I'm going to read you is from Lamentations. Lamentations is an Old Testament book that we don't really explore much in our Sunday worship lectionary cycle. Typically, we explore Lamentations in a much more narrowly focused, guided study so that we can understand how and why it's written and the circumstances it's written to. Lamentations are very, very human reactions to the pain and suffering that we encounter in the world, and yet they're human reactions that occur in the context of faith in a God who finally, in the end, will bring justice. Let me read to you from Lamentations chapter 3. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They're new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore I will hope in him. The Lord is good to those who wait for him, to the soul that seeks him. It's good that one should wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. It's good for one to bear the yoke in youth, to sit alone in silence when the Lord has imposed it, to put one's mouth to the dust. There may yet be hope. To give one's cheek to the smiter and be filled with insults. For the Lord will not reject forever. Although he causes grief, he will have compassion, according to the abundance of his steadfast love. For he does not willingly afflict or grieve anyone. Did you sense the difficulty we as humans have when we hear these words about God? The writer here is writing from a very human perspective, a faithful human perspective that says, God causes all this stuff, but eventually it's all going to be dealt with. It's a faith which recognizes that God is somehow still all in control, but it doesn't seem like it is right yet. I'm going to have to endure. I'm going to have to suffer. It's part of the life that I live. It's not as simple as saying, well, I believe now, God, everything's going to be wonderful. Yay. Difficult for us to hear this. That the person who writes this says, God causes grief, but he'll deal with it because of his love. He doesn't willingly afflict or grieve anyone. But, the other part of that to say is that, yeah, but it still happens. And it happens to me. And as you tune in here, it happens to you. The other hard passage I want to bring to you is Jesus healing a little girl. And he goes, and this is the daughter of a synagogue official named Jairus. Well, he says he's going to go minister, deal with her. He goes there, and by their accounts, she has died. Well, he comes, and some people come to him. And they say, the girl is dead. Why bother Jesus any further? But Jesus hears this, and he says to the synagogue leader, "Don't be afraid, only believe." Then he allowed no one to follow him except for Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. When they came to the synagogue leader's house, he saw a commotion. People were weeping and wailing loudly. Sometimes even hired people to do this. You have to understand it was a way of communally doing this, and so that the grief was not just for the few people there, but rather it was the whole community who joined in. And when Jesus entered, he said to them, "Why do you make a commotion and weep? The child is not dead, but sleeping." And this strange verse, and they laughed at him. In the King James Version, it says this, and they laughed at him to scorn. This wasn't a funny occasion. Why laughter? I think it's a very real human emotion when confronted with something which is too good to seem true, which is something which is so completely out of the ordinary, so completely unbelievable to have to laugh. Not laugh because it's funny, but laugh because it's implausible and it seems a complete affront to our reality. You know, it would be like if we would laugh him and say, if we would say, "Get real, get real." That's the kind of laughter. But we also know that Jesus faced other kinds of laughter. When he was on the cross being crucified, they came in and they laughed at him. He saved others. Now he cannot save himself, and they laughed at that as well. It wasn't because it was funny. It was because it was so implausible that this person who had seemed so important, had all this power, was now dying on a cross. Our laughter, like our laments, can be a way that we deal with the things which are most painful and are most implausible. But they are also the ways that we deal with the promises of God in the most painful and the most implausible moments of our life. There is a laughter which laughs in the face of all of the pain and sorrow in our lives. And it's okay at those times in our life to laugh at God, because it does seem too good to be true. And yet it is. God bless you on this beautiful week that we join together and share.